Right, well, we are here. Um, I'm look, I recorded the roundup a couple of hours ago. Um, but this is absolutely massive. So instead of waiting a week or re-recording the whole thing, I'm just gonna put this in at the start of the video before the actual intro. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a weird order here. Um, because we're literally going to do that. We're gonna probably put this at the start of the video because we have to talk about it, and I think it's the most important topic. Um, but obviously, so when all I'm going to say quickly is when you hear the rest of the video, I did that before this news came out. But OpTic have now decided, when it should have been a bit before this, have now decided to release Kenny, and he's not even on the bench. He's been released. A true world champion in and out of the game. We're grateful for the leadership and legacy built with OpTic. Thank you, Quavo. Obviously, Kenny did so well to win that World Championship with OpTic in 2024, but he's not been good enough, and he does say this himself, as I show you here. He did say this himself. Played some of my worst COD in career. This was to be expected. Sad, but got to get back to where I need to be mentally so I can get back to doing what I do best. Now, this was announced at 7 o'clock. I'm recording this now at 10 past 9. So it's been a couple of hours. Crazy, really. But the person that is replacing him, we were talking about that he's going to be a free agent in Major 4. But they've bought him out now, and I'm assuming that it'll be very, very cheap. But they are bringing in Caesar Skyz Bueno, obviously world champion with New York Subliners, but had a bit of a rough start to the season with LA Gentlemates. Now, it's a very interesting move, but I think it's one of those where it's like, why now? Why not? Why not during the qualifiers? Obviously Kenny's going to be at the ring ceremony, I assume, on Thursday, so it's going to be a bit awkward. Um, but look, I think Skyz is good. Skyz and Luna, Skyz and Priest didn't work, but Skyz and Dashi can work. Dashi, if he moves to a flex, could be very good. But obviously, it could take a bit of time for this team, um, because they're not going to have any practice. They're not going to have any practice really, so this could be a top 12. I'm surprised they're not waiting until after the major to do this move, but maybe they're just trying to get Skyz in early. Look, I think it's a good move because Skyz is good. He's a good S&D player, and I think S&D is a mod that OpTic have been pretty bad at all year. This is definitely a good move. I think they'll win a lot more S&Ds now with Skyz in the team instead of Kenny. Obviously, he's very clutch player, just like Dashi. Funny enough, it was Sky's dream to play for OpTic. That was his goal, and it's going to happen now. Um, but I do think that Caesar needs to be working very fast here with this OpTic team. I think he's going to be under a lot of pressure, especially after a pretty rough stint with Gentlemates. But obviously, if you remember, Hugh had a bad stint with LAG, and then he ended up joining OpTic in MW2 and played pretty well for the season. Uh, but they went on a historic 18 map loss streak, which was only broken on Sunday night against Gentlemates. It is the timing though that is a bit weird. I thought maybe after the major they could go for a move. I know people saying about Fellow, but I think Skyz is definitely a better player than Fellow, and obviously Skyz is a world champion. But I don't know how this is going to go now. I honestly I don't. My prediction, I'm going to keep my prediction the same for the major, so I'm not going to have to change that. So I had OpTic to finish in a certain place, which I won't obviously say because that'll spoil it, because this is the start of the video. Um, But yeah, this is a massive shock, isn't it? So Kenny is out of OpTic's lineup and Skyz is in. There was rumours going around on Twitter after I recorded the roundup. All these people baiting for impressions that there was going to be some massive roster news, and they weren't even lying. They said there was going to be something massive. Everyone thought they were lying, but it's that Kenny is out and Caesar Skyz Bueno is on OpTic's team. So it'll be Skyz on the main AR, probably Dash on the flex, and then Pred and Shotzi on the SMGs. Very, very, very interesting. I'm gonna have to change the title of this video as well. Because originally what it was gonna be was OpTic win a series. Um, Breach make winners bracket and Falcons fire Lewtee. I kind of want to keep the OpTic win a series in, but I don't know how many characters you get. You only get 100 characters on YouTube videos, so I have to say. But anyway, that is going to be the end of this segment, ultimately, isn't it? Enjoy the rest of the video, though, guys. It's a really good episode, and I hope you enjoy it. And, yeah, roll on the intro. What's going on, guys? Spud here, and welcome to episode 36 of the Roundup. In today's episode, our final online matches for the Major 2 qualifiers have ended, and OpTic finally win a map and a series in very convincing fashion. LA Thieves are one map away from breaking a record in the Call of Duty League, and Vegas Falcons were very close to finally winning a series and a hardpoint, but they still failed to do so, with head coach Lewtee now losing his role just before Major 2 starts. And of course, we're going to be doing our Major 2 predictions. I love doing the predictions for the Majors. I think they're really fun to do with the bracket. And our MVP ladder, I will say there is very, very little change in the MVP ladder. But obviously, you'll have to find out what's changed. If you are new, please do drop a like. It is really appreciated. And subscribe if you're new. We're on 36 episodes now of the Roundup. When I get to 50 episodes, there will be a 50th special. I will say that now. So that'll probably be during... That might be towards Champs, actually. Episode 50. We'll have to see, to be honest. I think it would be around Champs, maybe WC, when we get to that stage, but it's a long time away, so let's not focus on it now. And OpTic are back on the thumbnail. It's been a while. I mean, they were on the last Roundup Extra. I've got this week's Roundup Extra. We need to talk about Vegas Falcons again. But yeah, Dashy's on the thumbnail this week. Of course, my favourite player in the Call of Duty League. And you know what? One win can definitely change a season. And OpTic, let's see where I put them in this major bracket. But first, of course, we're going to be looking at this week's matches. And we start with a really, really interesting match. Now, I think I predicted Ultra to win this 3-2. Well, I definitely thought they would win this series, even though a lot of people probably had Vancouver Surge. But they do win this 3-2. It was a very good series here, and it was a Neslo by Toronto Ultra. If we look at the stats, Kleenex has a pretty good series. Again, he's probably been the standout player for this team this season. On the other side, Abuza had a very good series. Neptune a bit quieter than normal, and I think that's for the reason that they won. Obviously, the respawns, the hardpoints were won by the Surge, who played very well in the respawns. But then when it came to the control, it was pretty dominant from Ultra, and the S&Ds were very good as well. Insight went 9-2 on that map 5, iced up, and got Ultra 10 big CDL points, and obviously puts them up in the bracket as well, because obviously they have a better head-to-head record than the Surge, because they beat them, didn't they? So they're both 5-2, so they do go slightly higher up in the rankings. But yeah, if we look at the stats here, I mean, Abuza went off it in that map 1. He kind of like, he was the everyone went negative on that Surge team, but Abuza went 37-17. He carried them pretty much to that win. But when you look at the map 5, I mean, Insight did very well here. If we look at the if we look here, I mean, 5 of the 8 First Bloods were won by Toronto Ultra, and I think that obviously has a massive impact. But yeah, really good series to start off the weekend, that's for sure. Then we had LA Thieves versus OpTic. Now, I expected this 3-0, but we also have got another CDL record to talk about when it loads. I know it was an embarrassing result, but they've got to show it. They don't want to show it for some reason. This isn't the first time. Also, massive shout out to Breaking Point. Obviously, I've been using Breaking Point ever since we started the Roundup. Very, 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 very good. And, you know, I appreciate everything they do, really. They've actually just released a mobile app now as well, which is quite good. Obviously, I can't use the mobile app on here. Well, I could if I wanted to instead, but I'm just going to keep using the desktop website. But I want to... Oh, here we finally got... Nope, it's... I don't know why we're having an issue here trying to see the series. Well, this is really, really annoying because I want to talk about this series quite a bit. Here we finally go. Right. 3-0, and yeah. It was a 3-0 here for the LA Thieves. We kind of expected this 3-0 to happen. They destroyed OpTic, but we have to talk about Kenny dropping a .32. It is the lowest KD in CDL history, I think it might be the second lowest KD in Call of Duty esports history. And we talked about Kenny's struggles before, but getting 3 and 16 on a control is absolutely mind-blowing. You know, 11 and 29 in the hard point, 3 and 8 in the S&D, and 3 and 16 in the search and destroy. It's the worst series I've ever seen a player play since I've watched Call of Duty. And I've been saying that maybe he is the weak part of the team. They need to drop him now. And then he goes and drops a .3. It's crazy. I mean, shout out on the other side, Hydra. Hydra and Scrap. Again, Hydra's now here. I feel like this split has been very, very good. Him and Scrap. Oh, there we go. I don't know why. This series just seems to be hard to load up, but there you go. If we look at the, I mean, everyone, no one played well on this OpTic side. Dashi, I mean, he had the most damage on the team, the most kills. He did okay. I wouldn't say he did good. I wouldn't say he did bad either. What can he do on his own, ultimately, in that series? But yeah, Kenny dropping a .32 is absolutely ridiculous. And then we had Carolina Royal Ravens versus Miami Heretics, which I expected to be a close-ish series, but I expected the Royal Ravens to win. However, I did not expect them to win 3-0. Slasher with a 1.97 KD had a very good series. On the other side, Lewtee and Metals, definitely the weak part of this Miami Heretics roster, really struggled here. And obviously Heretics' last match was a really important one against Boston Breach for who makes winners bracket. And you'll soon see what happened there. But yeah, this one was won by the Ravens pretty convincingly. The hard point was close-ish, not in the slaying department. 41 from Gwyn. In the control, Slasher went 31 and 11. Yeah, Slasher's been quite good this year because obviously there was a lot of talk about Slasher. Would he actually be good enough for this Royal Ravens team? Because obviously Gwyn and TJ were brilliant. They dropped Clay and Fellow. Beans played in the EWC, but obviously he was wanted by Ultra, who are obviously a better team and a better organisation. So they've obviously brought in Vivid and Slash. I think Vivid's been a bit inconsistent, but I think that roster works well. And unless they have a massive drop off, I think they'll just stick for the rest of the season. There's definitely been a lot less roster changes this year than last year. We're going into the second split. Falcons have changed a bit. We've had Lunas come in for Skyz. And obviously Skyz is going to be a free agent come Major 4 because they've had a termination of contract. Not Major 3 though, Major 4. And OpTic have obviously had Hukin, whilst Hukin and then brought Pred back in. And I genuinely think that that's all the changes we've had this season. And obviously Neptune for Hixie. But I think we're going to start to see some changes if some teams have a really bad split here, because you're halfway through the season then. And if you want to make champs, then obviously you're going to have to make a decision. We start off Saturday with one of the biggest matches actually of the weekend in terms of who makes winners bracket. And it was won by Boston Breach. I thought Heretics might take this, but Boston Breach do have a nice series. Everyone played really well on the Boston Breach side. I've got to give them all their credit because, I mean, Cammy had the most damage. Snoopy had less damage, a lot less damage, but got more kills because obviously Cammy had made them weak. On the other side, Rencor again has played well. Lucky did all right, but Metals is definitely struggling a bit. And obviously they've got Super in there, Super that could potentially replace him. I think if Heretics have a really bad major, I mean they came third last split at the major, but if they come top 12, I think Super could definitely be in contention. So this was a pretty close series. I'm actually going to show you the final part of the first 2 maps here.
Those folks, 3 down in the feed, and that could be map 1. It was cold and calculated. Awakening gets traded. That's all 4 off the map, and it's going to be staggered deaths as well. You run into the clutches of Lucky. He gives you 2. You expect some trades, and on the point, Real delivers and at least gets you a little bit of scrap time. 5 more seconds to go. It is going to be a trade battle for the game. And the trades are continuing as Lucky now inside. It's a last man, Snoopy. Can he get the contest? He does. Can he find the kills? He cannot. And that should be map. That should be it. Final contest moment. Wait, the kills are still rocking and rolling. Rencor down. Last man Metals can't get it done. We go to new. All right, take a deep breath. Everybody calm. Where you're picking up, where you're going to be watching. Number 7, he's got the front. Number 4, number 2, trying to work out through outer. Lucky's found the route. Awakening's got the cut. The gunfight's coming through down low as well. But Lucky shreds them, and he gets the back spawns.
So the back spawns as well now, trying to get himself on the inside. There's 2 seconds for the win. Now the pinch is complete. The Heretics, those folks, 3 down.
Yeah, Heretics did really well to break that. Honestly, I think Breach after that, Breach having the spawns and that, I think Breach should have won that, but they messed it up. But we'll try the 3v4 here that Boston get to obviously win the map to get it to 1-1.
No mistake for Boston. This is the battle right now for the 8th seed, for winner's bracket going into the major. Boston wants this round 11 just to tie this series up. And again, it is Snoopy that falls by the cooked up frag grenade. Advantage right now from the Heretics, and looking to fully capitalize. They got Real back down in position as well in a 4v3. And all that dust kicking up just above him. He can calm to his teammates exactly where these players are. And if you think they're over towards B, work this A site. Great intel. He got eyes on Cammy. Metals, though, gets caught in a 3v4 clutch. Potentially rolling through. Boston with the ice. Boston with the ice. No mistake for Boston.
And you know, Boston made that look easy, and so credit to them. And yeah, deserve to get in winners bracket. Obviously 8th seed, you know, they're going to be up against the team that obviously won all their matches, which was LA Thieves. So it's going to be very difficult for them, but at least they'll have like a second chance if they lose that series, which I expect them to. Then we have to talk about LA Thieves because they were 1 map away from making Call of Duty League history. But they win here against the Rocker 3-1. Ghosty MVP here. Very good series out of Ghosty. Obviously, we're always talking about Hydra and Scrap because they're superstars. But Ghosty had a very good series here as well. On the other side, Gio had a bit of a rough one, but he's been very good all season, so it's nothing to worry about. However, after LA Thieves made this very easy hardpoint, easy S&D, they had tied the map streak record at 13. So 13 maps in a row, which was set by Atlanta FaZe. But they lose the control and can't break the record because we've had a couple of CDL records broken this weekend. Obviously, Kenny's KD in a series. One which we'll talk about as well shortly about Falcons. And obviously, we almost had one here. But yeah, unlucky. I mean, Thieves will be happy. 7-0. Now, I actually have read a stat that the Thieves could break a record here. No team that has won, that has gone 7-0, because obviously this is only the second year of 7 online matches. No team that's got 7-0 in online qualifiers has won the major. So will LA Thieves be the first team to break that curse? We'll have to see. And then we have, for me, this is probably the series I want to talk about the most. And when I watched this, I was absolutely gutted they didn't win because, except the S&D, I think Falcons should have won this series 3-1 and won all the respawns. But it was a Carolina Roll Ravens that win 3-1. Nobody played well really on the Ravens. I don't care about the stats. They did not play well here. We can't give Ravens too much credit. This should have been a win for Falcons, but I think they threw it. I'm going to show you here the Vault control, the Vault hardpoint.
Attempt with how close Ravens are.
We're so close. They've got to now find their way forward. Now on towards time. Teach finds one. A slide in there for the whom on the trade. Magnificent! The second even better. The break is there. 1 man left. Vivid. And slashing out from the outside. Vivid wins his. As the slasher. Wixel's got to win it. He has to buy the time. And he can. The foot race is on. And my God, it's happening.
We're going to find out if TJ's a spot, dude. We're going over towards P1. 0-24 right now. The Falcons are in hardpoint on the year. I mean, record setting in this moment, but this is the best opportunity they have had for a hardpoint map win all year long.
Oh, the chaos now ensuing. We are in the absolute eye of the storm, folks. Vegas on the wrap. Are you going to be able to read this? Time still ticking away. X is now going for the hero play. 1 man in. The dance is on. The second kill not there. His teammates looking for the trades. Anyone able to find it? It's TJ and Vivid. 1 man left there on the point. King on the wrap. King on the wrap down. Oh, and that's going to be game. The Ravens.
I think Falcons through that, you know. King just needed to leap through, but he had to go the long way around, ran out of time anyway, got killed, but he would have ran out of time. But Falcons, I thought, oh, they're going to get 3-0 after losing the S&D. But they did bring it back here in the control.
Slasher buying some space there. Big kill down low. You've got all bases covered right now because this is the way the Vegas Falcons have loved to attack this zone. They fly across grass. Xnid though, whoa, he and Wix will get their kills. Top side of the map is where the reinforcement are going to come, and Vivid gives it up for a second. The boys are on the stack now. Oh, sweet. No, they're not. They take it all back. No stack. Good work from Gwyn. Two-man stack now on the point. Xnid playing the closed door. Great damage. Not enough for the kill. TJ over the top. Dealt with. The capture continues.
This might be it. Slasher gets dropped as well. The Whom there for two. Just get on the point. Everybody run towards it and stack it. This should be a map win.
This should be map. Last hit. Ravens, they're in, and it's done. Vegas Falcons, another big control.
Obviously, it's good for them. I say Xnid. I like Xnid because I think he's a good player, but he's obviously quite a passionate player. I think he was the best player in the series anyway. But obviously, MVP doesn't get given to the team that loses. My only issue is I just think that he's every single map. I think he needs to maybe calm down a bit. Maybe that's what Falcons struggle with, but oh, they should have won this map. They should have won this map. I'll show you the last part of this. They should have won it though. Honestly, Falcons should have had 2 hardpoint wins.
They should be able to win this rotation. Admittedly though, they have to sniff out Gwyn. Sneaky over into him.
And they haven't accounted for it just yet. Here we go. Xnid doesn't win it. To Whom? Holding him down from well. Not a soul makes it through on a Vivid. Gunned. Hardpoints though, still in the hands of the Ravens. King fighting forward. Not a Raven to be found. Slasher's there. Lead change on the cards.
And there's no routes being taken. Everything through the front, but then Wixel does not
That 2-piece from Slasher wins in the map, by the way.
react to his teammate that just died by snap, so Slasher gives you 2.
Yeah, big lineup there. A lot of damage dealt. Xnid should be able to get the contestant. Here comes the flank. To Whom's on the flank. Finds himself 1. This is not over yet, folks. Contest is there. Here we go. In the time. Last man gunned. And that could be game. A final chance. Vegas Falcons. You've played 2 of the best hard points we've seen. 5 seconds for it. Xnid in first. He goes down. Wixel's up next. Trades are complete. And it still remains...
Fair play to Ravens. They didn't play well and they still got the job done. Falcons, though, 0-26 in hard points. They haven't won a hard point all season. They haven't won a series all season. We're nearly halfway through the season. We're going to talk more about Vegas Falcons after we've done the rest of the matches. And then we had Gentlemates, LA Gentlemates against FaZe. And you know what? This was actually a pretty good series. And Gentlemates played FaZe quite well here. We'll show you the first map here for sure, because this was a really good series. This was one of the best series of the weekend, if not the best. I think the Falcons one was probably the best, but this was probably the second best one.
Work out. Doesn't work out for Draws. He's going to end up dropping, but maybe Celium's turn to turn up. He's not had the best of games, but a great time to get 3. Now just playing his life. Well, until he opts to chow with the pistol.
Yeah, but without that Draws play, again, they're in a heap of trouble. I mean, they still are. Now, this time it's on Simp. Luna's just trying to hunt him down. He's able to read that. 15 seconds for LAG to take map 1. They can win it on this hill. So, FaZe, they have to go. And then they're going to have to rotate. But they clean 3 dead. Luna's the last player up. He's going to be down low. Massive initial gunfight from him.
FaZe have dominated the P4s, but they've won it there early. They're not going to have the numbers this time. All the pressure to Draza. How many can he get? The fact he gets 2, will that end up being enough? It is the double from Draws. The difference. P4 dominance for Atlanta FaZe. Deep out spawn for LAG. They've got to battle back. Just 10 needed for the win. Here goes LAG's only push. They've got to win this. It comes down to this. They fly on in. The team kill's going to hurt them. Who's left at the end of it? It's a FaZe member. Work out. Doesn't work.
So that was a really good map 1. Obviously, P4 on Protocol is a game changer ultimately, because if you can hold that and you get 60 seconds, it's very hard to break that hill. Especially if you've got 4 men in the point, it's so difficult because you have to, you know, it's so hard ultimately. It's hard on ranked play as well, even though I don't play ranked play anymore. But when I did, it was difficult as well. S&D was dominant by FaZe. Gentlemates so did win the control, and then FaZe did manage to break P4 and Hacienda and win this series. If we actually look at the stats, we didn't look at the stats first. Yeah, I think Gentlemates played well here. So credit where it's due. On the other side, FaZe, yeah, they weren't up to their normal standard. Simp had a bit of a rough one. I'm not going to change his MVP rating though, because of one online series. Abizi, Celium almost went positive. Draza though was the best player, 1.3 KD. He had a very good series, did Draza. Let's see how FaZe do with the major. I think it's going to be a very interesting major as well. So we'll have to definitely see what happens there. And then we had our 3 Sunday matches. We had the first one, which OpTic versus Gentlemates. Look, I thought Gentlemates would win, but OpTic would finally win a map. But OpTic win 3 respawns. Now, they did poor in the S&D, but OpTic played well here. If we actually look at the stats, I mean, Kenny's damage is bad, but look, I'm not going to sit here and criticize Kenny's performance. I think everyone played well on the OpTic side. Pred with a 1.45, Dashy with a 1.32. The Dashy and Pred were definitely the best players on OpTic this series. On the other side, Linz had a very poor series with 0.6. OpTic finally win a map, and it's been a long time coming because they were 0-6. They got 3-0 every single game. They would have broke a record as well, which would have been the first team to get the least maps for a team in a stage as well.
At least there for the trade. OpTic Texas through mid lobby, instantly find the break. LAG breakdown again.
Oh, and Lynn's not able to keep his life over towards the connector, so now it is just on Kismet. Not quite able to find full entry, but at least enough pressure here for LAG spawning close to keep the hard point in their name. Little water out for Kenny, waiting for his teammates to develop the hit from the front first, or maybe not at all. Kenny's actually the first one to peek. Got the first blood on the Linz. Follow up from Pred is clean. Now it's just on the Lunar's backside of the hill. He's being held back by Dashy. Pistol out, not going to work, and OpTic can win here.
OpTic can win here. LAG starting to spawn all around that middle map area. You just got to take care of Linz to the backside. OpTic Texas looking like they're going to secure a map win here.
And it's going to come in electric fashion with Shotzzy on the pinch. It's finally happened. OpTic Texas finally.
Look at Pred. It's almost the same reaction as to when he won Champs, that they finally win a map online. The control was dominant as well from OpTic. They played really well in that control. If we look at each map, I mean, yeah, everyone positive on that first map. You know, Kenny with 1.26 there. Kenny's S&D is very poor though. Like, there's no denying that. But OpTic can work on that. The control, everyone played well on the OpTic side. And then in the 4th hard point, yeah, Shotzzy and Kenny, not maybe the standard they'd want, but Dashy and Pred. Pred went on an 11 streak. He was 11-1 at one point, which I'll actually show you here.
Shotzzy out of commission as we look over towards the P2 side of the map. Kenny is the only one really in position to try to get some early influence over P2, but as he drops, now it's down to Pred from topside windows.
Pred's just going to hold it down with the AR. He still knows if there's a couple players around that mid-map area. Let me just try to mow them down, and he finds himself on 6 in a row. Double headshot to clean up the mid-map pressure. Now your teammate's going to apply the pressure through the low side of bolt. Shotzi's only able to get one. LAG trying to stay alive, effective on the trades, but OpTic are doing a great job of just keeping this one scattered, being laid off the roto.
Yeah, they did get one player in Dashy to kind of spawn behind P2, but that's been immediately corrected now by LAG. Pred 8, making 9 in a row. Heck of a first life, or second life, I should say, for Pred. Septex also well placed up top on ladder off the reload.
Oh, man.
I don't know how he didn't.
10-1 start. Give me 11.
I don't know how the hell they didn't kill him there. Anyway, right, LA Gentlemates, right? They are so bad. I think OpTic played well here, and I think the confidence, you know, Gentlemates played FaZe well. OpTic just beat Gentlemates, accepting the S&D very comfortably, I think. I think that's the boost they need. Look, I'm not expecting OpTic to win the major, but I don't think they're going to finish top 12. I think they'll win a series on LAN, at least one. Good job from them. Look, I don't want them to. I still think that maybe a roster changes for the best and Hugh comes in for Kenny and Pred switches role. But if OpTic don't want to do that, they've just got to take the risk that they can somehow play like this every week. And on Scump's watch party, Dashy basically came in.
Nameless played Cold War? He's on the fucking board, man.
Thank
He's
God,
on the board.
Let's fucking get it. Let's go, kid.
That's what I'm talking about.
It starts with 1.
Yo, you a beaming, kid.
It starts with 1.
It starts.
It does start with 1. Look, I think they'll win. I don't think they'll finish top 12 at the LAN. I don't know why. But yeah, it's good that they won that. Then we had Rocker Surge, which I thought was another interesting matchup here. And obviously this could have had an impact on who starts where as well in winners. But this one was won by the Surge. Not really that close of a series. The S&D was comfortable from Rocker. Abuza had a very good series here. Estriel did alright on the other side. Nero had a bit of a rough one. Nero's been very good this year. I think he's very underrated SMG. But yeah, a bit of a rough one there. But Rocker look okay, and I don't know how they're going to do at LAN, but obviously, if they get top 12, they may make a roster change. I could definitely see Paul X still probably on the draw, on the, on the risk, on the bubble of potentially being dropped, but we'll have to see what happens then. And then the final series of the online qualifiers for Major 2 was Cloud9 New York versus Atlanta FaZe, and this one was won 3-1 by Atlanta FaZe. It was a very close fourth map, but apart from that, the other maps weren't really that competitive. Kremp and Sib played well. On the other side, everyone played pretty well on that FaZe team. Celium with MVP here. I mean, he's currently the MVP of this season. Let's see what Major 2 brings. Obviously, look, I'm going to say it now. The Majors have the most impact on the MVP ladder. Now that it's a top 10, I would expect that order to be really different come next week. Not too different. Like, it's not like Celium's going to go from number 1 to number 10, or even off the list. Like, it's obviously, if they get top 12, that ain't going to happen. But, I mean, Dashi was number 1 5 or 6 CDL weeks ago. And now he's not in the top 10. Even though I'd still say he's still close to top 10. But he's not in the top 10 at the moment. Obviously, if OpTic have a good major, and he's like OpTic's best player, then yeah, that could change. But, yeah, that was the online qualifiers for this week. Now, we're going to talk about the Vegas Falcons. Before we do our predictions and MVP ladder, we're going to talk about the Vegas Falcons. So they end the major qualifiers winless, and they're also yet to win a hardpoint this season. It's absolutely crazy. They've been close 3 times to win a hardpoint. How can you not win a hardpoint all season? Like, I just don't get that. It's absolutely crazy. This is the worst team in CDL history. Like, there is no denying that. So, obviously, they might have to do something about it, but this was not what I was expecting. So the Vegas Falcons have announced they are parting ways with Lewtee, who's the head coach of Falcons, and he's also been helping out with the Vegas Falcons Academy. He has had a massive, massive impact on the Vegas Falcons before the CDL and now. I think this is a terrible decision from the Falcons, and Jay Gizmo, who's obviously part of the CDL, part of the Call of Duty scene, has said, this guy's literally mentored and took these players from literally not knowing hills and playing for 6v6 S&D to winning challenger competitions, and now they're in the league, which they're not ready for, but money talks. You kick him a week before major, pathetic. I think this is a very bad decision. I think Lewtee deserved at least the major. I think the whole season. Now, what does this have as an impact on the future of Vegas Falcons and Clayster? So we're going to kind of talk about this on the Roundup Extra, but we're going to talk about it now as well. So, a theory that I've got is that they're going to potentially change their identity going into the next split. Look, most of the players, I know they know bits of English, but they won't know full English, the Arabian players. Clayster, if he's going to be now promoted to head coach, or if someone else is going to come in, might not know Arabic. So, could Vegas Falcons be changing their identity going into Major 3? They're probably expecting to lose here, not win a hardpoint. Will they potentially pick up 1 or 2 players that aren't from Saudi Arabia and build a new team for Stage 3? Now, if they were to do this, I do believe that even though it'll be difficult to start with, I believe that Exnid and King will stay on the roster, and they will still have some Saudi Arabia in the team. But I do think that they might pick up 2 players from NA or EU to complete the roster. Now, obviously, this could be just out of the equation for the whole season. But I don't think that Falcons want to have paid for the CDL spot. They've probably put some of the money in for the challengers pools just to get 0 points and be the clowns of the league. I'm very interested to see what Major 3 brings for this Vegas Falcons organisation. Will we see them change their identity? Do you know, I'm going to come in with a prediction and say that, yes, they will. I think that the Vegas Falcons will bring in... Wait, what roles do an SMG? Yeah, I think they'll bring in a new SMG and a new AR and keep King and Exnid. But we'll have to see what happens. If that actually happens, yeah, fair play. Will they bring in another coach? Obviously, Clayster's a big name. I don't think you can blame Clayster or Lewtee. They're obviously getting better, but I just think they're out their depth, Vegas Falcons, to be honest. Right, so obviously it's been a bit of a longer episode. Now it's time for the MVP of the week, which, was actually quite a tough one this week. Because there wasn't there wasn't a standout player across both series this week. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Hydra because he played all right in the Rocker series as well. But yeah, Hydra's my MVP for this week, and he is the person that we're probably going to talk about on the MVP ladder as well, because like I said, there's barely any change with the MVP race. But let's get straight into the MVP ladder because our top three remains the same for week 10. I think it's week 10. If there's like a week off or there's a break or whatever, then it would not be included in the week. I'm only including it in the Call of Duty week. So like after the major, I'm assuming there's a week off. But I actually don't know that for sure. But I'm assuming there is. So then it'll just be like that. There won't be a week. It'll stay week 10 or week 11, whatever. Anyway, right. Stellium, Simp, Scrap. Will this change depending on who wins the major? Yes. Let me be honest. If FaZe win the major but Simp gets MVP again, he obviously will go first. If LA Thieves win the major and Scrap gets MVP, I think he would be first. Yeah, I think he could be first. But yeah, so the actual tough one of the tough ones here was Kleenex and Neptune, because I'm going to keep it as Kleenex 10th, Neptune 9th. I know that Neptune didn't play as well in the series against Ultra and Kleenex got MVP, but I'm going to keep it as it is for now because Neptune's impact is massive for that Surge roster. Now, Hydra is the only other person that has moved, so I will go through the list. It's Celium, Simp, that moved up, sorry. Celium, Simp, Scrap, Draza, Gwyn will remain the top 5. Hydra is now gone ahead of aBeZy and Envoy into 6th because he's had a very good stage 2. And then aBeZy, Envoy, Neptune, Kleenex. And I think that's a pretty good... I do think that's a pretty good ladder, to be honest. Like I said, we need one more rookie to do Rookie of the Year ladder, because obviously there's quite a few players from the Vegas Falcons. Super's had one series, and then there's obviously Rencor and Lunas. And Rencor's the clear Rookie of the Year at the moment. But we need more competition in the last 2 stages. So now it is time for the final segment, which is obviously our Major 2 predictions. Now this is going to be interesting. I'm going to do score predictions as well for each series. And let's just get straight into it. This is, first of all, so it's Thieves Breach, Ravens Surge, FaZe Rocker, Toronto, Cloud9, New York. Looking at these, I think there's 2 that are pretty easy to predict. One that might be pretty easy to predict, and one that is very unpredictable. And you'll know which the unpredictable one is. So LA Thieves Breach, straight into this 3-0 or 3-1 Breach. Sorry, the Thieves. Yeah, 3-0 or 3-1 to Thieves. Maybe Boston gets something, I don't know. Royal Ravens versus Surge is one of the hardest ones to actually predict here. But obviously Royal Ravens did get top 4 at the LAN in Madrid, whereas obviously Surge did get top 12, but now they've got Neptune on the team. They're a completely different team. I am still going to go with the Royal Ravens, though, because Royal Ravens, I think, will have a little bit too much for Surge when it comes to on LAN. We don't know how Neptune's going to play on LAN. I assume he'll play well still. I'm not saying he's an onliner, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that prediction for Ravens to win. But I'm going to go with a 3-2 here to the Royal Ravens. It will go to a Game 5, I'm sure about that. Then we have FaZe versus Rocker. I think this is a pretty straightforward 3-0, 3-1 FaZe. Which obviously would put Rocker in the losers bracket facing OpTic, who are the hosts of this major. And then Toronto Ultra versus Cloud9 New York. This is a very tough series, but I'm going to go 3-1 to Toronto Ultra here, I think. I think Ultra underperformed at Major 1. I think they only got top 6, where realistically they're probably a top 4 team. I'd say the top 4 at the moment is probably Thieves, FaZe. I think it's the top 5 at the moment. Thieves, FaZe, Ultra, Ravens, Surge. But I mean, Thieves and FaZe are comfortably ahead of the others. But yeah. So then we go to our elimination bracket. Now this is a huge one. It's obviously whoever won was starting in winners bracket, so they obviously get an extra game. It is Breach versus Heretics. Now all I'm gonna say is whichever team loses here should make a roster change. Super for Metals if Miami lose. and maybe get rid of Cammy or Awakening or Purge even if Boston lose. And I'm going for back-to-back top 12s to Boston Breach. I think Heretics will beat them on LAN and will get their revenge. I'll go with a 3-1 here to Heretics. Surge versus Falcons, yeah, 3-0. Sorry, Falcons. Sorry, guys. 3-0 should be comfortable for Surge. Rocker versus OpTic. If this was played before OpTic just won a series against Gentlemates, I would have probably went Rocker. But I told you it starts with, as Dashy said, it starts with 1. I think OpTic will have a little bit more confidence. They'll obviously have the fans behind them. I'm going to go with OpTic to win this. And Minnesota Rocker would get top 12. Then I would expect Porlex to probably get dropped. Then we have Cloud9 versus Gentlemates. Yeah, Gentlemates. I'm sorry, Gataga. It's going to be another top 12. I actually think Linz might need dropping now. I don't know what they're going to do, but yeah. Unfortunately, I'm going to go with Cloud9 here. I mean, I like the guys at Cloud9. To be fair, I want them to do well. But yeah, Gentlemates, it's going to be another rough one for them. Another top 12. And it's very unlikely they make champs at the moment. So then obviously we've got Heretics Surge for top 6. Heretics obviously came 3rd last split. I don't think they will beat the Surge this time though. And I've gone for a Seattle Surge win here, a 3-1. OpTic versus Cloud9, I think we'll go to a game 4. If it goes to a game 5, Cloud9 will win. I'm going to go 3-1 OpTic, but I think Cloud9 would win both S&Ds. So I will go with OpTic here to beat Cloud9. But it's very close on this one. It could go either way. Obviously, Pred versus Sib. Accuracy obviously helped OpTic a tiny bit before champs, and obviously they ended up winning it. People called him Coach Lamar and stuff like that, so we'll have to see what happens. Then we have Thieves versus Royal Ravens. I think this will be a good series, but I'm going to go 3-1 to LA Thieves. I think this is what I mean. I think Thieves and FaZe are just a level above everyone else. Even though, like, Ultra, Surge and Ravens are good. I'm going to go with that, though. And then we have FaZe versus Ultra. I think this will actually go to a map 5. I'm going to go with 3-2 to FaZe, though. I think FaZe will just have a little bit too much, and Ultra will start to panic a bit. So, then we have 2 more matches which decide who will join Thieves and FaZe on Championship Sunday. Ultra versus Surge. I'm going to go with 3-2 to Toronto Ultra. I think they will make Championship Sunday this week, this major. And then we have OpTic versus Royal Ravens, and I'd love OpTic to get to Championship Sunday, but I'm realistic here. I think Royal Ravens will have a bit too much for them, and it will be a Royal Ravens Ultra top 4 match. OpTic will go top 6, which they'll obviously be disappointed with, but I guess that it's maybe a little bit better than what they had been doing. Some CDL points as well are really important at this stage because they've had such a bad split. So I'm going to go with Royal Ravens. So then we have Ultra versus Royal Ravens. Obviously, this was the same match. Royal Ravens were playing for top 3, trying to get into the top 3. Last time against Miami, but Miami managed to get it. I'm going to go with Ultra here with a 3-1 victory. I mean, back-to-back Championship Sundays for the Carolina Royal Ravens is very impressive, of course, but they'll obviously want to do a little bit better, I think. But then again, they didn't make champs last year. I think I'll be shocked if they don't make champs this year. They must already have like the same, or if not more, CDL points this year already. So then we obviously have Thieves versus FaZe in the winners final. Whoever wins this obviously goes to the grand final. The other one has to play Toronto Ultra. And I'm going to go with LA Thieves to beat FaZe here 3-1. I think, and I think it'll get loud between Scrap and Draza again. Just like it did at Major 1, just like it did every event last year that these two played each other. Ultra versus FaZe, yeah, it'll be a good series, but I think this one will be won a bit more comfortably than it was in Winners Round 2. So I'm going to go with FaZe again, 3-1, which then obviously leaves the final part, which is the Major 2 champs. Obviously, the final went down to round 11, game 7 in Major 1. Thieves also had a map 7 against Vancouver Surge on -1. I'm going to go with a 4-2 victory. I don't think this one will be going to a map 7. 4-2 to your Major 2 champs. And I'm pretty sure I said I was going to predict them to win a lot of things now. I'm going with the LA Thieves here to win Major 2. get their revenge on FaZe from Major 1. And I think that would be a very convincing and solid result for Thieves. And obviously Nadeshot would be a very, very happy man. MVP prediction as well. We don't normally do this, but I'm gonna go with Scrap. I think Scrap will be MVP. If Thieves win, Scrap gets MVP. Like I've said, it's very likely he goes number 1 on the MVP ladder because he had a really good split. He was arguably the best player in split 2, him and Hydra. Yeah, I might also do my MVP prediction now for the events because it's literally like 5 extra seconds. Well, I must say, there's my bracket, of course. I must say that's actually the longest roundup that we've done that isn't a major round, like reviewing a major that's just happened. That's actually like the longest one we've done in quite a bit. Thank you very much though for watching. I do really hope you've enjoyed this episode of the roundup. Please like it, it's free. It really helps me out. Every like is so important for the channel. Even if you only watch like 5 minutes of the video, it is really appreciated. And yeah, hopefully the major will be good. It's obviously on Thursday to Sunday, 7 PM UK time because it's an hour earlier now. So make sure to check it out. It's on YouTube. And yeah, I'll see you next time. But thanks for watching. Have a great evening. And hopefully this major will be one to remember. Bye for now.